then secondly, the president invited his son Hunter to the state dinner last night. I'm wondering if you could take us into the thinking and decision-making of why the president decided to invite his son.
I'm just not going to get into family discussion, personal family discussion. As you know, Hunter is his son. I'm just not going to get into it.
Let me ask you this. If Hunter Biden wasn't the president's son, would he have invited someone who had just reached a plea agreement with federal prosecutors 2 days earlier?
A couple of things. Again, that's his son. He's a family member. It is not uncommon for family members to attend events at the White House. You could look at past presidents. I'm sure you have. So that is not uncommon. As it relates to anything related to Hunter, I'm just not going to respond to it from here.
Can I follow up on that?
No, I just called in somebody. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Curley wouldn't answer James's question, though. Are you going to answer the question? I mean, not a reasonable question to ask, whether the President of the United States was involved, as this message seems to suggest, in some sort of a coercive conversation for business dealings by his son. Is that something, if he wasn't, then maybe you should tell us?
So here's the thing, and I appreciate the question. I believe my colleague at the White House Counsel has answered this question already, has dealt with this, has made it very clear. I just don't have anything to share outside of what my colleagues have shared, and so I would refer you to him and the DOJ. Just not going to comment from here.
Text message.
What I can tell you is I know that my colleague has dealt with this. He addressed this at the White House Counsel. I just don't have anything else to share.
In the shakedown
I just answered the question. I just answered the question.
No, you didn't. Yes or no? Was the president involved in the shakedown attempt?
Stephen, I just answered the question. It's not up to you how I answer the question. I just answered the question by telling you my colleagues at the White House Counsel has dealt with this, and I would refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, can you just remind us what your colleague said from the White House Counsel so we have it from you at the podium?
I would refer you to them, and they will share their statement with all of you.
My question is about your statements from that podium. You've stated that the president stands by his comment from the 2020 campaign that he never once discussed his son's overseas business dealings with his son. And you stood at that podium and you reaffirmed that. Do you stand by your reaffirmation?
What I will say is nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. And I will leave it there. Anything else, I will refer you to the White House Counsel.
This is not a change?
I just answered the question. You just asked me, does my statement change? I just told you nothing has changed. That's answering the question. Go ahead.
Go ahead. The president was there 2 days
Go ahead,
prior.
Stephen. I'm calling on your colleague right now. Go ahead.
Thank you. To follow up on my colleague, is there anything that you can say with regard to this text message and what the president's son was alleging? Was the president there or not?
I would refer you to my colleagues at the White House Counsel. They have addressed this, and I refer you to them. Go ahead.
Karine, have you spoken to the president about this? Have you asked him whether he was there with his son on July 30th?
This is not a conversation that I've had with the president. Again, I would refer you to the White House Counsel.
Do you plan to have that conversation with the president?
No.
Did the president speak with the attorney general at all
I
last night at the state dinner?
I cannot say if the president had a conversation with the attorney general last night. What I can refer you to is the White House Counsel's office as it relates to the allegations. They've already addressed this. This is something for them to deal with. I refer you to the Department of Justice on anything else if you don't want to speak to the White House Counsel's office.
And there was reporting earlier in the week that after the plea agreement was reached by Hunter Biden, that the president felt relieved that that part of it was behind him. Is that true? Can you speak to his mindset?
I can't speak to that. I cannot speak to the president's mindset. Again, I would refer you to the White House Counsel's office.
And now we know who was really in charge, ladies and gentlemen. We have the hard evidence of a text message from Hunter Biden to a Chinese affiliate with direct connection to the Chinese party. That text message shows that Joe Biden was in the room. Watch.
IRS Supervisory Special Agent Gary Shapley told congressional staff he saw a 2017 WhatsApp message from Hunter Biden to a Chinese businessman, writing, "I am sitting here with my father and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled. Tell the director that I would like to resolve this now before it gets out of hand, and now means tonight." President Biden has repeatedly denied discussing any business deals with his son. Shapley came forward publicly last month.
There was multiple steps that were slow walked at the direction of the Department of Justice.
I'm sitting here with my father. I want to understand why we haven't been paid yet. I will make certain that between the man sitting next to me, his dad, Joe Biden, and every person Joe Biden knows, my ability to hold a grudge forever, following my direction, I am sitting here waiting on the call with my father. With my father. This is the direct smoking gun evidence that Joe Biden himself was in the room. Physically in the room during an extortion scheme with the communist Chinese being used as leverage to get paid. You better pay me, otherwise my dad will use all of his power and daddy will come after you. Joe was in the room. Take it away, Mr. Chairman.
Whistleblowers say reoccurring unjustified delays pervaded the investigation, including an authenticating a WhatsApp message in which Hunter Biden demands payment from Chinese officials, noting that his father is in the room. The whistleblowers revealed IRS investigators were told by U.S. Attorney Leslie Wolf that because the evidence would be found in the guest house of former Vice President Biden, quote, there is no way, close quotes, a search warrant for evidence would ever get approved. IRS whistleblowers told this committee that crucial information about the investigation was divulged to Hunter Biden's attorneys. For example, even an investigators had probable cause to search a Northern Virginia storage unit in which Hunter Biden had stored files. Attorneys for Biden were made aware prior to any search, providing them valuable time to remove any materials that could be useful evidence.
They took the information that the IRS was gathering on the Bidens, and then they shopped it to the Bidens. They gave it to them so that they could delete the evidence. They tipped them off to raids on their house. Fact-finding searches by the IRS. Lawful searches by the IRS to go get information from Hunter Biden, who was at the time living inside of the guest house at one of Joe Biden's beach houses. How does Joe Biden have so many beach houses? I thought he was a public servant his entire life. Joe Biden hasn't ever had a job in the private sector. How did he get so many how did he get so many beach houses? What a question. We know that Hunter Biden was there at the time. We have photos of Hunter Biden at Joe Biden's house. The message that was sent to the Chinese commissar threatening him was sent on July 30th, 2017. The commissar's name is Henry Zhao. He was working with the Chinese energy conglomerate that the Bidens were trying to create in order to siphon American energy to China. This is what they were trying to create, the largest LNG port in the world in order to get China, sell American oil to China. The photograph of Hunter Biden with, I don't know, two young ladies. I don't actually know who those women are. You can assume. Shows him sitting in his father's Corvette. Well. The day that he sent the threatening text message. So Hunter Biden was in his dad's Corvette at his dad's house. Colonel Mustard with the wrench inside the library. It's not hard to see what was going on here. And this is why we've been covering this story nonstop. Oh, Benny, oh, God, another story on the Bidens and their corruption. Yes! I see the comments. Oh, nothing will ever happen. Well, you know what? Nothing will ever happen if conservative media and truth tellers don't get on message with this.